The road to 100 videos, from garbage to gold. This is video 2. Video 2 is inspired by a question: can I freeze more than one row at a time? Of course, referring to Excel. Freeze panes, which is found in the View tab. Across in the window group, we'll see freeze panes across here. Okay, so the question is, can I freeze more than one row at a time? And when would we freeze a pane? And what exactly is a pane on the spreadsheet? Well, this question wouldn't be too much of a pain to answer. Okay, freeze panes, View tab, window group. Let's take a look at what it says. So it says, freeze a portion of the sheet to keep it visible while you scroll through the rest of the sheet. This is useful for checking out data in other parts of your worksheet without losing your headers or labels. So column headers or row labels. Let me get rid of this magnification here. Great. And on clicking on the freeze pane button, we notice that there are 3 options here. So all we'll do is tackle each of the 3. Let's begin with the simpler ones. Freeze top row. Freeze top row says keep the top row visible. Keep the top row visible while scrolling through the rest of the worksheet. Right, so obviously they'll have some benefit into that. If I froze the top row and I scroll down, I could check out my later customers without wondering what each column represented. Fair enough? And I created a lot of customers, go all the way down to customer 500 and something. Fair enough? So as you scroll the rows down, your columns would remain frozen. How about we go ahead and unfreeze that top row? Because what is interesting is that freeze top row did not mean freeze row 1. Freeze top row should have said freeze first visible row. Keep the top row visible, whichever row is visible. For example, if I scroll along to row 70 and I say freeze panes, freeze top row, which row is atop the visible range? It is row 70. Therefore, row 70 would be frozen. It's kind of useful for auditing. There were times when I would be doing telemarketing and I have to call each customer bit by bit, and then it would be time to stop for lunch and I'd want to know where I reached in list. So freeze top rows are useful one for that. So I know that all the prior customers were already contacted. So let's go ahead and unfreeze those panes. Okay. Similar is freeze first column. What if I wanted to see which customer had which dollar amounts pertaining to which date? I could freeze panes, freeze first column, and as I scroll about past 2019 into 2020 and beyond, did you notice that I could line up my row labels are visible, so I could line them up against the respective dates as I scroll through. Okay, very useful. This is a good surrogate for having to hide columns. Yeah, so no need to hide columns between now when an option exists to freeze the first column and scroll the data accordingly. Let's go ahead and unfreeze that. Alright, and just as before, freeze first column does not mean freeze column A necessarily. It will mean freeze the leftmost column that is visible. For example, if I go down to column S and I say freeze panes, freeze first column, when I scroll, column S remains visible while the others scroll by. Okay, so freeze top row, freeze first column. The tacit word there is visible. Freeze the top row of the visible range, the range on screen. Freeze the first column of the columns on screen. Let me go ahead and unfreeze that. Let me jump back to start. Of course, there may be examples where perhaps I might want to use January 2019 as a baseline against all the other figures. In a case like that, right, freeze first column would not cut it. How about we take a look at this example? I want to use January 2019 as a baseline against all the figures to follow, and I want to use customer 1 as a baseline for all the other customers below. What I could do there is I can click on, let's say, Charlie 3, column C, row 3. And then if I select freeze panes, what would happen is all the columns to the left would be frozen and all the rows above would be frozen. Make sense? So I no matter how I scroll, January 2019 is available for easy comparison. For example, if I wanted to check variance or something of the sort, and customer 1 is always visible as well. Right, let me go ahead and unfreeze that. Unfreeze panes. So the top option, and you can see why I left it for last now, remains for instances where you want to customize how it's frozen. Right, for example, if I wanted to have the first 5 customers as benchmark customers and January and February 2019, what I could do is, keeping in mind that all the rows above would be frozen, I click in row 6. But which column? I click in column D. Column D, row 6 will allow all column C left to be frozen and all rows above to be frozen. Freeze panes, and as I scroll down, customers 1 through 5 remain intact. As I scroll across, right, January and February columns remain intact. There are endless applications for this. You could imagine customer name, address, phone number, and you could be scrolling through other criteria as name, address, and phone number remain fixed. Right? So play around with it and let me know if there are any questions. Right? Thank you for your time and attention. This has been video number 2, freezing panes in Microsoft Excel. On the road to 100 videos, from garbage to golden.